Meet Kevin is very, very passionate. I'll give him that. He's very passionate. He wants California to succeed. He wants California to be better. But he's an ideologue. And this is honestly a problem I have with most people on the quote-unquote left today. They think their good intentions supersede their bad ideas. Right, so the idea of what we're going to do is we're going to friendly send in the National Guard to kindly round up the unwanted people on our streets, and then we're going to put them in these awesome, super not re-education detention camps where they're going to get the education that they need and the help that they need, and we're just going to, because listen, man, if people that were in this situation were capable of functioning at that sort of level. Now I'm not saying that it's not a noble idea. What I'm saying is that rounding up the people you don't want and putting them into a camp has been tried before, and it didn't work out well. So
is that the only thing you took from his 2-hour sit down here?
No,
like that one thing, or what else?
No, because he also wants to put local governments under occupation as well.
So it was all negative stuff. There was nothing you agreed with. It was all just ideologue that I don't agree with.
I think that what happens is that, listen, if you're going to sit here and have a conversation with me about...
Why are you guys so friendly today? What is the story like? What happened over the weekend?
We'll hug it out after the show.
If you want to have a conversation with me about the way you think things should be, and you want to be, some sort of a utopian ideologue, that's fine. That's your prerogative as a person, okay? I wish we can do X. If you're running for governor of the 4th largest economy in the freaking world, and your idea is to send in the National Guard and round up the people I don't want on my streets, I'm sorry, but you have to have some pushback. And there should have, frankly, it's not about him. There should have been somebody in his camp that was like, okay, you understand how this is going to sound to anybody that believes in the Cobra paradox at all? Like the
problem is, I don't even know if he has a camp. I think he's like kind of doing it solo.
Guys, this is not like a kid. You're going like high five. Like, you're doing great speaking on stage, buddy.
It's the freaking governor of California.
It's the governor of California,
I think that was the
dog.
problem.
You had strong opinions on him too, did you not?
I definitely think that was the problem. And most importantly, he's the type that probably has done very well rehearsed. But when he comes into maybe like a road game, hostile situation, and really wasn't even hostile.
Which I give him credit for,
right?
In fairness.
But to me, that's an opportunity, right? And I think he missed it because he did get pushback and kind of deflected a lot and couldn't get to the point. And I think one of the things that I've noticed, like here, when we talk about politics or business, is a running mate. Partnerships that he has, this guy has a ton of things going on, in his life, but he didn't once mention like who would help put these people in these places. That requires a lot of funding, a lot of money. He didn't walk us through those things. And that's what I was most concerned with. And then when Pat would ask about that, it was more like, well, I don't have all the answers, but then he had all the answers. I have all the answers, and I don't really, I need the data. So that's where I got kind of confused as to, okay, you're a know-it-all, but you don't know anything.
Here's what I will
now.
tell you about this. Roger Stone, okay? People ask me and say, why do you interview all these random people, like all these mobsters, Roger Stone, former criminals, all these people, right? Because everything's about how did it get you to be thinking the way you think, right? Roger Stone is a pretty weird guy. And when he was talking, he said a few different things. He said, in life, everybody goes through 3 phases. He says, first phase is, who is Roger Stone? Like, meaning, who's Roger Stone? Second phase is, get me Roger Stone. Third phase is, I need somebody like Roger Stone. Fourth phase is, who's Roger Stone? Meaning you're forgotten about, right? You start off with, nobody knows who you are, you're irrelevant. Then you go to, dude, this guy's amazing, I want him. Then you go to get me somebody like him that's younger. Then you go to, I've never heard of him before, right? Okay. Right. I don't care what anybody says, agree or disagree with this guy. The level of respect I got for people like Meet Kevin, you go build a 2 million subscriber channel at 28, 29 years old and get that kind of an audience in money, real estate, making $6.2 million in a year at that age, he's absolutely crushing it. This is the biggest thing with a guy like that. I've been running sales teams for a long time. The biggest thing with a guy like that, at that point, sometimes when you win very early, one of the hardest things for you to do is to listen to anybody. It's the hardest thing to do when you win early. When you win later, after you've lost everything, it's one of the best things that'll happen to you. It typically ends up becoming a better person to be a leader when you lost everything in your 20s. I'm talking girl, money, fame, success. You were the main guy. You got your nose bloody. All of that, 20s and 30s, when it happens. Then you lead in your 40s and 50s. Now you kind of like, remember, listen, everybody gets knocked out. Hey, listen, as bad as you are, everybody go. So I think he hasn't gone through that yet, which is my recommendation to him was to go get his nose bloody. And then the other part is, you need a couple guys like them behind closed doors. You need a couple guys like them to talk to behind closed doors. That's going to be like, yeah, I don't know about that. I don't think that's going to work. Push back, push back, push back. And then for him to argue with you and say, no, here's why I believe in this. And he's still going to push back. And then he's going to say, you know what? No, I get the point. Kind of like yesterday watching at the house, and you see there's pushback, and then finally he's like, yeah, okay, I agree. That's fine. I totally understand. I think there needs to be a little bit of that. We're going to see what's going to happen with him. I hope the guy's got a big upside. He doesn't slow down, and I hope this doesn't discourage him to go run.
Right.
But it is what it is.
Maybe let me get your guys' opinion on something, because, right after the podcast, who was on? Ricky with you guys?
Yes.
And then you popped in. Oh, no, that was the one time.
Zenner was on.
Okay, anyway. So right after the podcast, I interviewed him.
Yeah.
And it was more of a financial type interview. It wasn't that. I even said we're not going to be political. All we talk is money. All we talk is money. And we did the financial interview. But I said, let me ask you something, Kevin. Respect. You came on. You did your thing. Have you ever been a mayor, a representative, a dog catcher? Like, if you've never been in politics ever, what makes you think a lack of experience is a good thing? Meaning, you've done real estate for 10 years. I've never done real estate. I've done finance, but I've never done real estate. That's like me saying, I think I'm going to be a realtor today, and the #1 realtor in the entire state. What makes you think that you can just be governor with zero experience? And I think this is what I would call the DJT effect, Donald J. Trump, is that, look, he became president with zero experience, but the guy's been in the media. The guy's been in ruffling feathers for 40 years.
Yeah, he's been in the political game on the other side.
But my point is this. Trump made it acceptable for anyone to say, all right, fuck it, I'm giving it a shot, whatever it may be. Whereas I think, like Pat said, respect to getting out there and think you could do your thing. But if you have zero experience.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Adam, that's a good point.
It happens more often, buddy. Yeah, let that go through your head a little bit.
Anyway.
Johnny Cash
but
there.
You
got to cut that short clip. You got to cut that short clip.
To your
Just cut that up for me, please.
To your credit, man, and your point, the whole time he was sitting there, and I actually said it later on in the interview, because I didn't want to hammer the guy. But I have been in politics, and I was in on the other side of it.
People don't know. You literally wrote speeches for Chris Christie.
Yes. Yeah. So now they do. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
But the side I'm trying to say is that the whole time, and I waited 2 hours, and then he finally went on the offensive. And I actually pointed out to him, I was like, congratulations, you finally went on the offensive. Yep. And I texted Pat afterwards, because you were talking about giving, he needs encouragement, and he does have a bright future. And I said, well, if he's going to do this, and he's going to make drastic changes like that, he has to make it about the opponent. So anytime anybody, if you're ever thinking about running for politics, you get this one for free. This is the valuetainment, all right? All he had to do at any moment, and he still didn't do it in the video that he did in response, he had to admit that what he was saying was outrageous. But these are outrageous times.
There you go.
That's all he had to do. He had to say, listen, I don't want to put California under occupation, but it's a state of emergency. Gavin Newsom screwed up so bad for so long that we have to treat this as the emergency that it is. Take it off of him, put it on Gavin Newsom. Treat it as something that's temporary in a response to bad administration that he has to come in and do. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Now you have libertarians like me, Republicans like other people saying this is an overreach of government, but at least it's temporary, and at least he knows that it's bad. Now, it could be BS. Everything that the government does that's temporary, the federal income tax was a temporary measure. 100 years later, we're still here, right? So we all know that in the back of our head, and that's why we give pushback. We know that you're taking this power, and you're never giving it back. Now, the other side, who wants to hear the utopian butterflies and, hell yeah, we're gonna heal all the homeless. They've been trying to do it for 10,000 years, but I got this plan, and this plan is we're going to round them up and throw them somewhere else where you don't see them. Dude, now, the wild thing, the craziest part about this was Rudy Giuliani in the sit-down that you had with him literally said, the first thing you have to do is clean up the streets. You have to get rid of the homeless. It's the very first thing Rudy said. He said you can lower, in the interview with you, he said you can lower murders by 90%, but nobody ever sees a murder, so they won't believe crime is going down unless you get rid of the graffiti and you clean up the homeless. He said, until I got rid of the squeegee guys, nobody believed New York had a turnaround, right? So in that time, his methodology isn't necessarily wrong. His messaging really, really is. And that's where
that's great feedback for him. That's great feedback. And by the way, knowing him, he's probably listening. Someone's going to tell him about this. He's going to listen to this. and hopefully you'll take that feedback. So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.